Hey guys,
Hey guys,
it's Nia,
and Kara.
and today we're doing a book review of Majesty by Catherine McGee. Let's get into it. Majesty is a continuation of American Royals where Beatrice now has to fill her father's shoes and become queen. Her life as queen, however, is not what she thought it would be. Her younger sister Samantha is keeping up her party princess lifestyle while meeting someone new who she thinks will help her get what she wants. But things may change. Nina is trying her best to stay out of the spotlight and away from Prince Jefferson. Daphne has everything all planned out until her big mistake comes back to haunt her and put a dent in her plans.
We give this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It is still a nice, enjoyable read, except for the fact that many things changed and some changes weren't exactly what we would have wanted. We heard that this was planned to be the end of a series, but it has quite an unpleasant ending to it. It feels unfinished, and many things need to be resolved before we let go of this amazing world.
Now we'll be going on to favorite characters. My favorite character in this book is definitely Beatrice. At first, it was hard for her to ease into the role as queen because she thought she was the one who killed her father, but once she realized that it wasn't her, she started to work hard, but still had to listen to what Robert said. I was also so happy about her and Teddy. He supported her through anything. Teddy and Samantha just weren't right, and it made more sense for Teddy to be with Beatrice. But it also was happy for Samantha. And Samantha ended up with Marshall. I think she found her perfect match. In this book, I just didn't like Nina as much. In this book, her and Ethan's relationship didn't have the chemistry like her and Jefferson's.
My favorite character in this book is still Beatrice. Things were more difficult for her this time around, and she was still dealing with the fact that her father died. She had to forget about that and had to listen to all of Robert's demands. She didn't have a say in anything. I was so happy to see her with Teddy. To be honest, at first I didn't know how I felt about it. In American Royals, the only couple I shipped was Nina and Jeff. I feel like Beatrice and Connor were like an American Aspen from the selection, which is the absolute worst. And Samantha and Teddy didn't really have much chemistry. But throughout the book, I fell in love with Beatrice and Teddy's chemistry. Teddy is probably my other favorite character. He's super sweet and supported Beatrice through just about everything.
Now I'll be reading my favorite quote for my favorite part. We could do a round of truth or dare, Teddy suggested. Another high school game that Beatrice had never played. You're on, she said, more bravely than she felt. It took a few minutes for Beatrice to get the hang of the game, but her competitive nature quickly took over, and she soon was perched on the edge of the couch, shouting just as loud as the boys as she stabbed frantically at her controller. Time seemed to stretch out indeterminately, all her energies focused on on that massive screen. With only a few minutes to go, she and Livingston were about to win until Teddy's receiver caught loose his pass and sprinted into a touchdown just as the clock ticked down to a zero. It took a moment for Beatrice to realize that the moment had erupted into shouts of excitement and outrage, and that hers were the loudest of all. She put down her controller, feeling self-conscious. Hey, you played great, Livingston knocked his fist against hers in congratulations. Thanks. No one had ever fist bumped her before. No one had ever given her a night like this before. A night of pretending she was an ordinary person. Teddy clearly knew her better than she'd realized.
My favorite part was when Teddy gave Beatrice the Minnie Mouse ears with the veil thing. Now I'm going to read my favorite quote from my favorite part. Given that you bought me a house, I figured I should do something. He said it lightly, but Beatrice heard the note of emotion beneath. She tore open the box and her breath caught. Inside was a pair of Minnie Mouse ears, the special bridal ones, covered in white sequins and affixed with a miniature veil. Beatrice felt an aching pressure in her chest that pulled her somewhere between laughter and tears. She placed the ears on her head, not caring that they would ruin her updo. Compared to the tiaras she usually wore, they were curiously light. Teddy reached to adjust them, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. I wish we could elope to Disney World so you'd get the wedding of your 5-year-old dreams. But I think a few people might be disappointed. So since I couldn't bring you to Disney World, this seemed like the next best thing. His hand was still cupped around her chin, tilting her face up. Moonlight traced the sweep of her eyelashes, caught the startling blue of his eyes. I'm so in love with you, Beatrice blurted out. Her hands flew to her mouth in shock, the way a cartoon characters would. She had just said it, had told Teddy she loved him without a second thought, which was so unlike her that she wondered if it had really happened. She never spoke without thinking. When I went back to read it again, I teared it up a little bit. It was extremely thoughtful and really made me love Teddy even more. It was so nice to see Beatrice so happy, and the fact that she was so spontaneous in saying that she loved Teddy was proof that she loved him so much because she isn't a spontaneous kind of person. It was interesting to see her out of character, even for just a second. She was much more vulnerable here, and I liked that we saw that part of her. She was really nervous about Teddy's response, but it was well worth it, even though the storm interrupted things after. I just love the two of them so much.
Now we'll be going on to least favorite characters. My least favorite character is obviously Daphne. The way that she got her happily ever after made me so angry. I have never said that I hated a character before. I also loved how she thought that she and Himari became friends again, but then Himari remembered everything. At first I thought, yes, she's going to get what she deserved, but Daphne didn't care that Himari realized what she did. Another reason that made me hate Daphne even more was in the end when she saw Nina happy with Ethan. She had to go and mess everything up. By saying that she loved Ethan and telling Nina everything she did and how it was all her plan.
My least favorite character is still Daphne. She still doesn't care about anyone but herself. I can't believe that she ended up with Jeff at the end. And she sort of made up with Hamari. She has no right to get everything she wants, and it definitely should not end that way. She isn't really sorry for any of her mistakes because if she was, maybe I would have at least a little bit of pity on her. She still tries covering up all of her mistakes instead of owning up to them, and she's still greedy for power. She's still manipulative and expects everything to fall into place for her. She realized that she loved Ethan, or maybe not even really, once Ethan was smart enough to move on with his life. Daphne doesn't have a life, and her insecurities are what drives her to do everything wrong.
Now we'll be going on to least favorite parts. My least favorite part was when Daphne got her happily ever after. She obviously didn't deserve it, and when Jeff showed up, I was like, how stupid is he believing everything that Daphne said? I'll now read my least favorite part. It was small, much smaller than the massive Great Seal ring worn by his father and now Queen Beatrice. This was a family signet, its flat, round bezel marked with the Washington's coat of arms, a script W below a row of stars. The only other man entitled to wear one was Jefferson's uncle Richard. The walls seemed to shrink in on her, and no matter how hard she sucked in air into her lungs, Daphne felt like she couldn't breathe. Jefferson started to reach for her hand, then paused as if realizing he should ask her permission. I love you, Daphne, he told her. And she knew that in that moment that he meant it, really meant it, so much more than all the times he said it back when they were dated in high school. I hoped, would you wear this? This is my least favorite part because I just was like, is he really doing this right now? I was just like, why?
His favorite part, or at least one of them, is almost identical to Nia's favorite part from American Royals, and that is when Daphne and Nina had kind of a part 2 encounter. Daphne never fails to speak her mind. Even though the ending part was good, I hated that Daphne was so full of herself that she couldn't bear to see others happy. Now I'm going to read that part from the book. I'm not stupid. I know it won't be easy, she replied with more bravado than she felt. But Ethan is worth it. We have something real. Daphne gave a sharp laugh. You fool, I'm the one who told Ethan to go out with you. Silence scraped at Nina's eardrums. She couldn't hear anything anymore. Not the muffled sounds of footsteps, not the security guards speaking into walkie-talkies. It had all receded behind a wall of shock. Ethan only ever started dating you because of me. Each of Daphne's words was like a sting of a lash, like a knife digging into Nina's side. You see, I was worried that Jefferson still cared about you. I realized that I would never get him back if you were still an option, so I asked Ethan if he would keep tabs on you. You're lying. Nina's reply was automatic. Daphne rolled her eyes. I orchestrated the entire thing. I told Ethan everything I learned about you, from your weird M&M obsession to the fact that you love Venice. I wanted him to flirt with you a little, and he did exactly what I said. Nina's heart lurched with a sick sense of betrayal as she recalled the pleasant glow of surprise she'd felt when Ethan had noticed those things. She thought that he was so observant, that they were so compatible. She'd never really questioned why, after they lived on the same campus for months without seeing each other. He'd suddenly shown up in her journalism class and asked her to be partners. Had he been following Daphne's orders the entire time? At the hurt look on Nina's face, Daphne smiled. Well, it's nice to know he made use of all my intel. I actually like Nina, and even though I didn't like her with Ethan, it was great that she stood up for herself and said what needs to be said after. This probably sounds like one of my favorite parts, but it's one of my least favorite parts more because I was reminded again of how horrible of a person Daphne is.
Overall, this book was good. We really hope that there will be a third book with Beatrice's wedding and a good ending for Nina and Jeff. We also hope that Daphne will get what she really deserves because so far she's had it pretty easy and has been getting everything she wants. We also loved how, like in the first book, we got to see so many characters' perspectives, and it was amazing. The highlight of this book was definitely Beatrice and Teddy's relationship. They were by far the cutest, and we loved seeing Beatrice's perspective in this book. It was great to see Samantha and Marshall so happy because in American Royal, Samantha was unhappy for the majority of the book due to the fact that she was upset with Beatrice and Teddy. We were glad that she found someone better for her. Thanks for watching, guys. We hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to comment down below some books we should read and review.